5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds Are Go. Hello guys, welcome, or if you've already seen my channel before, welcome back. I am the Philadelphia Whovian, and this is the one of the many times I wish I had the technological skill to do a whole title sequence. Because when it comes to this subject matter, it does require a very impressive title sequence, but alas, all you've got is me. And what are we talking about now, guys? We're talking about that 1960 show, Thunderbirds. Okay, for those who have not seen my channel before, I should warn you now. Guys, I am one of those sad YouTubers who sits in front of the camera and just talks. Yes, nothing fancy going on, just her face, me here doing this, yes. What can you do, huh? Just sit down and eat something while you're listening. It'll help you keep your attention going. Either way, guys, welcome to my channel. Those who have seen it before, yes, we're back again, but this time talking about another Gerry Anderson production. Those who have seen my channel know that I have done a review for Space 1999, and then I was recommended by some people to do a review for Thunderbirds. Now, what is Thunderbirds? For those who have not seen, I believe it is a show that took place in the 1960s, produced by Gerry Anderson. I believe he was a script editor, a script supervisor, along with Sylvia Anderson. They did it together, and also I believe they wrote the very first script together, too. And there were other writers on this as well who were very good. There was also, I believe, Dennis Spooner, who wrote for Doctor Who. He wrote an episode in this. I believe Alan Fennell wrote 2 episodes in this also. You know, overall, a lot of good writers in this. And I also believe the music was by Barry Gray. But I could be wrong about that. Let me know in the comment section. I believe it began in 1965, this show. Either way, what is Thunderbirds about? Well, Thunderbirds is an puppet animated production where there is something called International Rescue. International Rescue has futuristic technology where they can have spacecrafts, planes, all different type of gadgets, all different type of vehicles, etc. and so forth, and they're also scientifically and mentally and physically trained to help rescue desperate people in desperate situations where nobody else can get to them. You have International Rescue, and again, it's puppets doing this. And the puppets' mouths are moved electronically to pre-recorded dialogue. So yes, it's not like you got puppets who are never moving their mouths. Oh no, their whole faces move from an electronic fashion. So you've got that going for you. And of course there are strings. You kind of every now and again, or almost always, see the strings that are holding the puppets up. But do you really care about that? No, really, seriously. Do you actually care about that? No, you don't, because you're just watching the magic of puppetry when it comes to all these wonderfully outlandish, epic, large, bombastic plot lines of saving the day. And I admit, guys, this was made in the 1960s, so the whole world, or that time period, had an influence on this show. Please remember that when you're watching this, because if you watch this from a 2020 woke or political perspective, you are not going to like Thunderbirds. You have a whole group of men. Okay, who are the Thunderbirds? Thunderbirds are a family, the Tracys, and they're all Caucasian males who have got together, and they have, with also another expert whose name is Brains. I'll explain in a moment. They are a group of people who go out and save everybody, and save many different, people in crises. Yes, but again, when it comes to the political agendas we're on nowadays, you have a whole family of Caucasian males, and then you sometimes have derogatory statements, or you have ethnic characters in situations that people would be very upset with today, in the sense that, oh, it's like that stereotypical. Guys, it's the 1960s. I'm begging you to look past that. This was not meant to be offensive in any way, shape, or form. Back then, people were just not afraid to, tell stories like this in this fashion. And you have to think of the environment they're telling stories in. Of course, it's going to be like this. So, if you are a person who, you apply 2020 standards to 1960s storytelling, why would you do that? And if you're going to do it, this show is not for you. And to give you guys some more perspective about the puppetry and the animation about this, let's see, if you ever saw the movie Team America, World Police, that was a parody of this. Team America, Rural Police was a parody of Thunderbirds International Rescue. And also because they have this futuristic technology, and people love their, aircraft, or their, basically any of their technology they possess. There are people who do want their technology, and that's where we get one of their arch nemesis, the Hood. Okay, so right now that you've got a kind of background on what Thunderbirds is about, if you have not seen it, those people who have seen it, here comes my ranking of the 6 episodes that I have in my volume. So yeah, I've only got 6 episodes. I don't have the entire show. And of those 6 episodes, I'm going to do a ranking of each single one of them. Okay, now when it comes to number 1 through number 6, it's not about number 6 is bad and number 1 is perfect. It's more about my least favorite to my favorite, because even my least favorite is still quite good. A lot of incredible, spectacles in it, and every now and again they do use real images, like, they have an animal, they try and use a real animal, or they'll sometimes have a real human hand pressing a button instead of having it be a puppet because it's easier. But either way, a lot of talent and technique went into this production, went into this show. So again, each episode is very good. It's more about personal taste of which one do I want to watch more versus which one do I want to watch least. So now that you know this, understand that my list is going to be vastly different than your list or anybody else's because it's down to personal taste. Are we ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Coming in at number 6, we have The Pit of Peril, where we have a top secret army vehicle, like the Sandblaster, it's called something like that. It's huge. It's like a big spider-like creature. A spider-like machine that goes in and digs in the earth and rips apart trees. And it disappears beneath the ground. Like literally, there's the ground is fragile. It falls into the ground, and the soldiers or the unit who was controlling it fell down with it. It's about going in and trying to rescue these people who are inside of this machine. Problem is, it's like really hot down there. It's almost explosive. Like, it is just like a furnace. So when the people go down there to try and rescue the team, twice you have them come up and they are badly injured. They're burning, but they were brave for doing it. So the International Rescue, they come in to get the ship out, but also save the crew. And of course, they do, and they are thanked very gladly for it. Very good story. It's just one of those stories where I admit I have an impulse to watch other stories more than this one. Number 5, we have The Uninvited. So I believe it is of the Thunderbirds. I should have explained this. When it comes to the Thunderbirds, there is the head guy, Mr. Tracy, and I believe it must be his sons. I don't know all their names, but there's Scott, John, Alan, Virgil, and there's one other one who I forgot. Then there's also Brains. I believe he's not part of the family. He's like the genius in the group who's also an inventor. And then there is Lady, what's her name? God darn, I totally forgot her name now. Lady Penelope. Oh my god, how did I forget Lady Penelope's name for a second? Lady Penelope and Tintin, the two bombshells. Tintin is the daughter of Yakino, who is the servant to the Tracys. And again, that's where it goes down to politically correct. If you don't like the relationship between Yakino and the Tracys and Tintin, then you're not gonna like the show. But I love Tintin, I love Yakino, and then again, Lady Penelope, she's very fun as well, and the Tracys are all, of course, the heroic bunch. And Tintin is vital to the group. She is. Either you got a lot of, handsome, brave guys, you got the two bombshells, you got the smart brains, and you've got Mr. Tracy, the head guy, who is the one who keeps everybody all together and organizes his whole team. Either way, so now you know. So with The Uninvited, Scott gets shot down by the zombites, and he gets saved by 2 other Iranian or some force Saudi Arabian, I don't know their heritage, characters who actually get him and protect him, and then he gets taken home by his fellow, family members. But then it turns out these 2 guys get trapped in a pyramid, and Scott goes to save them because, one good turn deserves another, and one of them is completely drunk off of power from all of the gold, all the treasure, and he actually, the one who one of the two men who saved and protected Scott is not trying to kill him because of him being worried that Scott's trying to take his treasure. The other one, though, is immediately on Scott's side. It's about them escaping the zombite and surviving this situation. Either way, it's very fun. It's good. Like the Peril, it's very good. It's just the other four are my favorite. Next we have up is The Mighty Atom. Okay, this is where we get our arch nemesis, the Hood, who is Giacchino's brother. Now, I know it's like a typical cliche to have, the two brothers or two siblings where one is good and one is evil, but I've always loved that classic, trope, because there's something about, siblings, one good, one evil, that just always, makes me happy. So the Hood is Giacchino's brother who wants the secrets of the international rescue, because if he has this, then he can rule the world, he can stop at nothing, etc. and so forth, classic villain speech. So we have up at number 4 from the last story of this set, The Mighty Atom. And The Mighty Atom, as we stated before, is about an atomic power plant that the Hood, he sabotages, and he does this because he wants their plans, but also he wants the international rescue to go there, and he's trying to lure the international rescue there so he can get pictures of their plans. Now, to do so, he does eventually destroy the atomic power plant. Another one gets built, and he endangers that one as well. But also, when the first power plant gets destroyed, it's about the radiation leakage that could eventually hit another nearby city, and this all takes place in Australia. So there's a panic of the radiation reaching the city, especially Melbourne, near where the power plant was, and actually causing havoc. I should say, when it comes to these stories, they're actually quite serious. Yes, they're puppets, but the puppets is very good at helping kids and even adults appeal to the stories, but the stories themselves are actually quite deep and serious. And so, the Team America, did I say Team America? I was supposed to say Team America World Police, like the parody. No, International Rescue does come, and Lady Penelope, she joins them, but the Hood, to get the plans of the International Rescue and get images, personal images of, their setup, or of their, ships, and their ships, designs, he sends electronic mice in there to get the pictures. But all the mouse gets is pictures of Penelope, Lady Penelope, freaking out. So Lady Penelope, your freak out was for a good cause. Yes, The Mighty Atom is overall a very good story, great production value, very well done, fantastic. I want to say this is Dennis Spooner's story, but I could be wrong. Next up is number 3, the first story from this set, Trapped in the Sky. This is where Gerry and Sylvia Anderson wrote this script themselves. And it begins with a jetliner bringing Tintin to where the Tracys live. But it turns out the Hood has placed a bomb on this jetliner. It's a really cool plane, by the way. On this jetliner, which sets the bomb to go off once the plane lands. He does this to sabotage and get the International Rescue to go there again to get their plans. And the International Rescue, they do show up and they do save the plane, and Tintin is alright. She lives to help the International Rescue Thunderbirds another day. Because she does become practically a part of the Thunderbirds. Next we have is number 2, City of Fire. Yeah, this one might shock you for being so high, but I love this story. City of Fire, here's what happens. International Rescue has to run to save a family from a burning building. Here's why the building is burning. It's this huge building with, stores in there, literally whole malls, supermarkets. It's a whole living center in there with apartments in there as well. You could literally live in that building, never go outside, and live your entire life. It's one of those high-rise, incredible, iconically futuristic buildings. And it starts out with a female driver who husband just lets her drive the car despite that she obviously cannot drive. She gets into a car accident right there in the garage. The car explodes and it sets off a literally firestorm in the interior, in the basement, in the garage of this building, and it takes down the entire building. The problem is there was a family in the garage who got cordoned off because their son was playing hide and seek in an unauthorized place. So when the building shut down the garage area, they thought that there was nobody in there, but it turns out there was. And the International Rescue Thunderbirds have to bite through, use a machine that Brains has invented to drill through this room to get the family out. The problem is the gas that's used to drill makes you lightheaded and makes you pass out. Even though you come out healthy, perfectly healthy, it makes you pass out. Why do I like this story? Because it's just so straightforward. Woman trashes her car in a garage, leads to a firestorm and takes down an entire building, and the international rescue has to just save the building. I don't know why. I just love it. It's just so straightforward. I actually really like it. And again, back to being politically incorrect. If you are a politically incorrect person, you're not going to like this. The joke at the end is the fact that the driver was female. It's meant to be funny, but of course nowadays I can see how some people won't take it as being funny. You know those people I'm talking about. You know them. You know them. Alright, next we have up is number 1. If you know the list of stories from this set, then of course naturally you know what number 1 is. It is Sun Probe. This is where the International Rescue Thunderbirds have to save a shuttle who was traveling to the sun because it turns out they ejected something which was meant to extract some particles or some matter from the sun and collect it so they can analyze what is the matter or what is happening, what is exact all the particles in the scientific algorithm of what is inside the sun, just for scientific research. Well, the shuttle, the rocket does attach itself to the entity that they get the particles and they get the matter from the sun, but it forced them into a collision course with the sun's gravitational pull. So International Rescue has to travel by rocket into space and save this rocket, save this spaceship. They do. Unfortunately, they get caught in the sun's gravitational pull as well. Tintin has to endanger her life to save them and get them, and beam them out. But eventually, they are successful. And yes, International Rescue has saved the day, but also they have saved themselves. So, it's a pretty fun story. Why is it my favorite, despite that probably it's not the favorite of so many people? Because I can see Sun Probe not being the favorite of so many people compared to other episodes or other stories in this volume. Why is it my favorite? Because it's space. Guys, I love space. I like stories about space. I'm just one of those people. I love watching outer space things. It's just something that appeals to me. It's who I am. It's how I feel. What can you do about it? So guys, thank you so much for watching. You were wonderful. Have you seen Thunderbirds? Have you not? Let me know in the comment section. And either way, guys, thank you so much for watching this person just sit in front of the camera and talk to you. Either way, you were awesome. Bye, guys.